Hey everyone, back for another Tick Ed. We're going to talk about precinct chairs because this is important for strategy as we go forward. Mary and Hollie, Mary Lowe is on. Hollie Plemons. Mary, go ahead.
Okay, so we did have Families Engaged had a meeting this summer, and we do have some things coming up. We would say, okay, if this was, if we were a football team or we were a great athletic organization, this would be our off season because we're not in session and we don't have an election coming up in the next month or two. So we're kind of in off season and we're looking at what do we need to be doing to get ready for election season and the next session. And for sure, we want to continue to flip school boards. We've had a lot of success in that. For sure, we want to continue with the grievances. We Hollie had an amazing win in a grievance, which we just never have. She got an apology out of a school district. We never get those. So that was a huge win. But the main thing that we really need everybody to be doing right now, no matter where you are, is we need you to be getting a list of where the precincts seats, the precinct chair seats are open. We in the state of Texas have an enormous amount of Republican chair seats open in every Senate district and in every county. And so coming up, we need you to do that. I'm gonna let Hollie talk about that. And then we need you to find delegates that will think like us, work with us to get our planks, our platforms brought up to the state convention, through county convention, up to the state convention, through every Senate district, and then help us get them out of the convention as number 1, 2, 3, or 4 as a priority. And we are going to go after getting rid of vendor bills. Mm-hmm. Especially in education. If all we got was no vendor bills in education, we would take it. And then getting this technology, the technology that's in the school is killing our children. It is enslaving our children. And we will talk about that ad nauseum, but that's what we're working on. We have a whole list of bills that need to be revoked. We got nowhere with that. All we did was play defense to defend public schools from being taken over by public-private partnerships with this stupid voucher bill, and try to defeat 1605. So that's where we were, but it's time that we start picking our team members. And Hollie and I worked really hard to get someone elected, and that we did not win. And when that election ended, we said, where do we go from here? And we said precinct chairs and delegates. And by George, I think Hollie is reaping some fruit from precinct chairs and delegates. So Hollie, talk about some of the fruit. Talk about what that looks like, and how have you been able to find out where there are precinct chair openings and then get them in there. Talk a little bit about that process, because we need everyone across the state of Texas to be doing this. That are in our vote.
Right. So first thing, a precinct chair. I was listening to a podcast and it said, if you want to make the biggest change, go become a precinct chair. And I had no idea what a precinct chair was. So the easiest way to describe it is you have your House rep and they have a district. You've got your senator and they have a district. Where you live is called a precinct. That's your area. It's drawn out on a map. And every single precinct has the ability to have a Democrat precinct chair and a Republican precinct chair. And so I'm a Republican precinct chair for 1167 in Southwest Fort Worth. And what my responsibility is to get the vote out for the GOP, Grand Old Party Republican, in my precinct. And that means that I block walk for the candidates. I communicate with the people that live in my precinct. They communicate with me. And it's the lowest level of elected government that we have is a precinct chair. If
that's
you do not,
that is the work that you do that's downstream. I want you to talk about what you're doing upstream, because that's where
I am. But it's very important. You can't just become a precinct chair and not actually do the work of your precinct, because you're not fulfilling your duties. You need to be able to do both. So how do you become a precinct chair is you're going to go to whatever your county's GOP website is, and they'll have a list up on there. Most of the time it's a Google sheet, Excel form, and you go look for your precinct, and then you see if it's available or not. You can also just call your GOP office and you can ask them. If there's somebody in it, then you have to place on the ballot in September, and you will be on the ballot whenever you go to vote. And so you'll have to get the vote out in your precinct. If it's empty, then you can be sworn in by your EC, executive committee of other precinct chairs. It's a little form, fill it out, submit it to your GOP office, and save a copy of it for yourself. Come to their next meeting, and you will more than likely get ratified and sworn in. And so as a precinct chair, one thing that we can do is we can condemn, we can censor, we can make resolutions. A lot of different precinct chairs around the state were doing resolutions about General Paxton, saying that we knew that was a sham of what happened. And so we had a resolution to let our state GOP elected representatives, it's called SREC, let them know that we on the local level are not happy with what happened. And then in Texas for Paxton, just to carry that story, SREC did create a resolution as well condemning the practice of what happened with Paxton. Why is that important? Because our elected officials, they don't want to be condemned. You don't want to be, an elected official and have your hometown be like, hey, we don't like you. We don't like what you're doing, and we condemn you, or we censure you, which is a lot harder to do. They don't want that to happen. It doesn't look good. And it's a way of letting those elected representatives know we're not happy with what you're doing. Some of them are going to be extremely bold, and they're not going to care that the precinct chairs are not happy about it. But if that's going to get some media going, probably where you live, that did happen to your elected officials. And so that's like putting the low word out that we're looking, we need somebody else. And this is how we can push for true grassroots candidates to come forward and apply to be on the ballot and challenge these elected officials that are working for themselves and their friends, and they have forgotten about we the people. We can remind them in being a precinct chair. It's a great community. If you don't have a large community of Republican friends, you can go there. You can get super involved. And if you are in Tarrant County and you want to be a precinct chair, we are having a precinct chair recruitment event at the end of this month. So you can just contact me through Families Engaged, and I can get you set up for that. It's going to be over in North Fort Worth on August 28th, I believe, but I may be lying. And I'll post about it in Families Engaged later, but anybody watching this can contact me and I can get you plugged into the event.
So this is a super good idea. We're working with people in all of the Houston suburbs and in Collin County and in Williams County, and we hope to get a stronger representation over in Bexar County. That is a great thing to do, but it is super important that all across the state that we not only have precinct chairs, but so do something like this. So do a recruitment, even if you're not a precinct chair. I could host a precinct chair recruitment. I love my precinct chair. I'm not going to run against my precinct chair. He does his job, so I'm not going anywhere. However, there are some precinct chairs that I absolutely do not like. They do not represent what I believe the Republican Party should be doing. And so I would be happy to work to get somebody to run against them. These are the smallest, most local little roles. But if we don't push up then the constitutional republic no longer works. So even if you have somebody like a Craig Goldman, who else was it that said, who was it? There was some other House rep that said, we don't care what SREC says, and we don't care about the precinct chairs, and we don't care about the Republican Party platform. I can't remember, but I know he.
I don't remember who that was, but it was absolutely horrific.
It was so asinine. Yeah. I mean, like,
Yeah,
I hope he gets defeated horrendously, because basically the only way that the party matters and that the people's voices are respected over the big donors is this right here. It's this. And the longer that these elected officials get to go without being held accountable, the less likely they are going to be to do the work of the people and the will of the people, instead of the work and the will of the nepotism happening for corporations. We have so much corporate greed and corporate nepotism occurring through our government because of who donates to whom. And that has to stop. And the way it stops is, honestly, it is. They don't like being shamed. They don't like being embarrassed. And it can be done quietly at home, or it can be done bold throughout the whole state. But we need everyone to get in those precinct chair seats. And then you need to find who in your district, if you're a precinct chair, you need to find who in your district thinks the way we think. And then you need to ask them to come to their county platform
executive committee.
No, it's not. Is it executive committee before convention? I thought it was the county
precinct conventions.
Your precinct conventions. Thank you. So you want them to go to the precinct conventions, and you want them to fill out a paper saying they want to be a delegate. Because I'm telling you, we are already working on what we're going to be showing up in San Antonio, May 20th through 25th, for education, to save the children, to protect the sovereignty of Texas, to restore the constitutional republic in the representative form of government, to keep local control and the right to self-govern. We are already working on that. And guess who else is working? The rhinos. The Republicans who do not believe the same as we do. They are working on that too. So get busy. I need the delegates, because if I don't have the delegates, we won't come away from that convention with the platform that we want, that we would like to have, and we will not be taking back control of the party. We have to have the precinct chairs. The precinct chairs are the ones who know who is going to be a good delegate and who is not. And you need to get those delegates there for us. We're counting on you. Hollie, thanks so much for the work you've done. You have really done so much work in EC, and I'm so proud of you, and I'm so proud for you. Great work. And that, and I see, when you are an empty nester, I see great things in your future for the state of Texas. Now that we may be all homesteading.
Long time from now, but I do see it. Yeah.
That's a long way away. I still got a little.
Well,
it does go fast.
It does happen fast. We'll trust God, and in the interim, who knows? We're getting people to step up and run all over the place like nobody's business, you know.
Yeah.
So, we have Georgia getting ready to make an announcement. How about that?
I love it.
Isn't that exciting? And then we had Debbie Georgatis, who's coming up for the grassroots to step up for us, and we have Rachel Hales running. We have Andy Hopper who's running, and we don't agree with all of these people 100%, but we know that they're constitutional Republicans, and they believe in the representative form of government, and we need that. So
yeah, and as long as they're willing to have a conversation, you don't have to 100% agree with everybody, but elect people that will listen. And when you provide evidence to them that is different than what they believe, and they're willing to go, okay, and change their mind. And the first politician that comes to mind that is willing to do that, do you know, Mary?
Pat Hardy.
Pat Hardy.
Yeah.
Pat Hardy. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Once they know, and if they're Once they know
And
their heart's in the right place and they're doing it for the right reasons, then you get that kind of response. That's what I
Yeah.
want. Okay. All right. Well, thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
We'll put these out there and see y'all soon.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye.